There is a silent battle that many men and women fight every single day, an invisible force pulling from the depths of the mind, a habit, an impulse, a shadow that seems stronger than willpower itself. Some call it vice, addiction, a destructive pattern, but its true name is subconscious programming. And today in this text, I will reveal something that very few spiritual teachers have ever dared to say openly. You are not broken. You are programmed, and all programming can be replaced, dismantled, and rewritten. Based on the hidden principles of Joseph Murphy, the father of the modern subconscious mind, this journey is not a sermon, not a moral warning, and not an empty promise. It is a mental technology, a profound method to unleash the inner forces that have always been on your side. Prepare to discover the secret code through which your subconscious creates or destroys habits. How to neutralize an impulse before it even enters your mind. The nighttime reprogramming that erases addictions at their root. The power to substitute a toxic emotion with an ascending force. And the shocking truth, every vice collapses once you change the inner image that sustains it. This text is not just knowledge, it is a tool, a key, a mental liberation. If you've ever felt chained, if you ever believed your mind was your enemy, or if you've longed for a real, practical spiritual path to break free, then listen closely, because today you will not only understand your subconscious, today you will set it free. Welcome to Subconscious Unleashed, the reprogramming that conquers vice. I want you to hear this truth from the very beginning because your freedom begins with understanding. Addiction is not a punishment, not a sin, not an indelible stain on the human soul. Addiction is above all a mental pattern, a deep habit, repeated and reinforced so many times that your subconscious carries it out like an automaton. What today seems like an unbreakable chain may tomorrow be nothing more than a memory, if you understand the law and apply the right principle. It does not matter how long the habit has existed, nor how severe your situation may be, nor how many times you have failed. What the subconscious mind has learned, the subconscious mind can unlearn and transform. You are not a slave to anything or anyone, except to what you hold mentally. For years, I've seen thousands of people, men and women from every path of life, free themselves from habits that once seemed incurable. They did not achieve victory through external miracles, but by applying the scientific principles of the spiritual mind. Doctors had given them no hope. Their families had lost faith. They themselves called their cases hopeless. Yet the law of the subconscious, once understood, is always willing to open a door where before there was only a wall. Just as a river finds its course, even through the hardest stone, so the inner power can carve a path where human effort fails. I want you to understand the revolutionary concept of this book. The subconscious mind that today maintains the addictive pattern is the very same mind that can become your most powerful ally in total liberation. It is the deep mind that, through repetition and emotion, learned to seek refuge in the habit. And it is that same mind that, through new repetition and new emotion, can embrace freedom, serenity, and true fulfillment. Addiction is not a life sentence. It is a pattern that can be rewritten. Just as a farmer pulls out weeds and plants wheat, you can pull out the old habit and sow a state of permanent freedom. Allow me to share a few brief testimonies so that hope may already begin to take root in your heart. I received a letter from a mother who, for 20 years, was enslaved by alcohol, losing her job, her family, her dignity. She applied the affirmations and visualizations you will learn in these pages. After 21 days, she noticed her anxiety beginning to fade. After a month, inner peace began to fill the space once dominated by urgency. Today, after 3 years, she lives in sobriety and joy, a living testament to the mental law applied with faith. Another man, ruined by gambling, believed he would never again feel self-control. He persisted with the techniques explained here, repeated his decree of freedom daily, visualized the life he desired, and in less than 2 months the compulsion vanished. True satisfaction came when I stopped fighting and began imagining myself free, he wrote to me. Stories like these number in the thousands. They are not exceptions, but examples of what any person can achieve when they understand and apply the truth of their inner mind. Perhaps right now you feel trapped, ashamed, exhausted from trying. Perhaps the voice of doubt keeps repeating that nothing will ever work. I want to assure you, with all the authority of experience. There is no addiction, compulsion, or habit that can resist the spiritual law when practiced with faith and consistency. Your subconscious mind is not your enemy. It is your fertile soil. Plant within it a new image, a new idea, a new emotion, and you will see freedom bloom, not as a random miracle, but as the infallible consequence of a universal law. In this book, you will learn step by step how to identify the pattern that sustains your addiction, how to weaken it, and how to replace it with one of mastery, joy, and peace. You will discover simple exercises, powerful decrees, practical visualizations, and real stories that will accompany you at every stage. What others have achieved, you can achieve as well. Always remember, your true nature is freedom. The truth that shall set you free is not an empty promise. It is a spiritual fact waiting for you to accept it and put it into practice. Now your journey back home begins, to your true self, where no chain can hold you. Freedom is in your hands, and the mental law is the key. Take it, and you will see the door to a new life open before you. How to free yourself from addictions through the power of the mind. Based on the teachings of Joseph Murphy, we have noticed that over 80% of the people who visit our channel are not subscribed. You can support this project by pressing the subscribe button and liking the video. Thank you for inspiring us to continue creating more and better content for you. Before we continue, let me remind you that if you want to learn how to use the law of attraction to improve your life, I've created a completely free guide for you. You have the link in the description. Are you ready to transform your life? Chapter 1. The Invisible Slavery of the Subconscious. Allow me to speak to you with simplicity and with depth, like a friend who has seen many men and women cross from captivity into freedom. Addiction is not a moral flaw, not a hidden evil in your blood. It is a pattern of thought imprinted upon the great creative reservoir we call the subconscious mind. That pattern activates automatically, like a clock that does not consult the will in order to keep beating. When you understand this, you stop cursing yourself and begin to re-educate your inner power. In that shift, hope is born, and hope, united with mental law, works wonders. What is the subconscious? Imagine a simple diagram that you can see right now with your eyes closed. Two circles, one above and one below. The upper one is your conscious mind. The lower one is your subconscious mind. Between the two there is a door, an invisible hinge called attention. Through that door enter ideas, images, words, sensory impressions. The conscious mind chooses, like a gardener deciding which seeds to cast into the soil. The subconscious mind receives like fertile ground that does not argue. It accepts the seed and brings it to life. If you plant wheat, you harvest wheat. If you plant weeds, you harvest weeds. The soil does not judge, it simply obeys. Thus acts your subconscious. It does not reason, it does not compare, it does not deliberate. It accepts and reproduces. Your word is law to your mind. Addiction is born when an idea is repeated until it sinks into that soil. At first, it is a passing thought. I need this to relax. It seems innocent. A day of tension, another of loneliness. A celebration seeking borrowed sparkle. The idea descends through the door of attention, falls into the furrow of the subconscious, and germinates. You water it again with emotion, with images, with rituals. The cigarette between your fingers becomes a symbol of belonging, the glass an illusory passport to peace. The glow of the gaming screen becomes a refuge of lights to hide the inner darkness. Repeat it. If the habit is born, you repeat it and the habit grows. Repeat it with fear and the habit becomes a compulsion. It is that simple. It is that serious. Do not say, I am weak, say the truth. My subconscious learned a mistaken route and now I correct it. This is the cardinal premise. What has been learned can be unlearned. What has been imprinted can be re-imprinted. Nothing is lost when you know the law. Electricity is not evil. If you connect it properly, it lights the house. If you cross the wires, it produces a short circuit. Mental energy obeys the same principle. Correct the circuit and the light shines again. Allow me to tell you the story of Arturo, a brilliant executive who came into my office with tired eyes and the breath of strong liquor. Doctor, he told me, I run a company. Everyone greets me politely, yet inside I am empty. Every night I repeat the same song. I need this to relax. 2 bottles take me to bed. 2 shames wake me in the morning. I answered calmly, "You do not need liquor. Your subconscious mind learned to associate relaxation with a liquid. Change the image, and the effect will change." He looked at me incredulously. "That simple?" "Yes," I said. "As simple as sowing and harvesting, as certain as the gravity that brings down the apple." "But I've read books about willpower," he replied. I explained, "The will directs, but it does not create. Willpower is the rudder, not the engine. The engine is the subconscious. If you fight against the tide, you exhaust yourself. If you steer the rudder, the very wave pushes you toward the harbor." Study for a moment the difference between your two minds. The conscious mind is the pilot that chooses, that judges, that decides. It is the lookout at the bow. It observes the emotion that rises, examines the thought that arrives and says yes or no. The subconscious mind is the deep ship, silent, massive, filled with titanic forces. It receives the order and carries it out. If the order is fear, it will produce trembling, sweating, palpitations, and the urge to flee. If the order is peace, it will produce well-being, calm, and restorative sleep. When for months or years you repeated, "I need this to calm down," the subconscious concluded, "This is the master order." When tension appears, open the drawer, take the bottle or the packet. It does not judge. It obeys. I have seen strong men collapse before a small glass of amber liquor. I have seen noble women weep before a box of chocolates, as if the chocolate had some evil will of its own. It does not. You are the one who grants powers. "Whatever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven," says the Master in the language of mental law. This means what you bind in your conscious mind becomes bound in your subconscious, and you repeat it until it becomes reflex, like the musician who practiced a scale 1,000 times, and whose fingers later fly on their own. So the addict has practiced an association thousands of times, and his hand flies on its own toward the habit. Not wickedness, automatism. How is the chain formed? A thought, an emotion, an image. Repeated, they become belief. Belief is a magnet. It attracts circumstances, friends, places, smells, even hours on the clock that confirm its command. Then belief becomes habit, and habit, when soaked in fear, becomes compulsion. Fear is the glue of all slavery. You fear the emptiness, fear the anxiety, fear the night, fear the silence, and then you say, "I need this." And your mind responds, "Yes, you do. You have planted and watered. That is why you harvest the same fruit. But today, here, we uproot the root." The old thought taught you to accuse yourself. It told you you are weak, you are guilty, you are worthless. That voice is not from God. The inner voice of wisdom says, "You are the image of the eternal. Within you lies a fountain of peace." Modern science confirms what ancient sages proclaimed. The deep mind responds to image and feeling. The electrons of your brain obey the pattern you contemplate. The vibration of your idea travels like a wave through the ether to every cell. If the idea is slavery, the body acts it out. If the idea is freedom, the body embodies it. Let us return to Arturo. I asked him to record the first thought that appeared before the impulse. "Observe the initial instant," I told him, "like one who hears the first distant strike of a drum." He returned 3 days later with a notebook. He had noted brief phrases. "I deserve it. Today was hard. Just one drink." "I'll stop after this," I explained. "These are seeds. They are not facts. They are commands. As long as you sign them with your emotion, the subconscious will obey and lead you to the bar like an autopilot." He lowered his head. "So what do I do when they appear?" I replied, "Do not fight them. We will see this in the next chapter. Today you will learn to identify them and to see their trick. A habit becomes an addiction at the exact moment when you stop feeling free to say no. That is the knot. Before you made the decision, now you feel the decision takes you. But listen, that knot was made with threads of thought. And every knot tied by the mind can be untied by the mind. Nothing bound by your thought is beyond the reach of your thought. This is the good news. You may tell me, "Doctor, my case is special." I understand you. Everyone who came to my office told me the same. I remember a music teacher who smoked 40 cigarettes a day. Every class ended with a ritual, a coffee, a cigarette, a sigh. "It's my break," she repeated. That was the verb that gave life to the habit. Break equals cigarette. I asked her to change the image. Now, when the bell rang, she closed her eyes, imagined her lungs as 2 rosy gardens, saw pure air entering like morning light, and said, "I breathe the breath of God. Peace sustains me. I am free." At first her hand trembled, searching for the pack, but she smiled and repeated her decree. In 21 days the ritual changed. The break was a glass of pure water. Deep breathing became her new song. Emotion transmuted. The association dissolved. The chain broke. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. What truth? That your subconscious is your servant. You are the conductor. It is the orchestra. If the conductor waves the baton of fear, the trumpets of alarm will sound. If the conductor marks the measures of serenity, the violins of the soul will answer with harmony. Do not wait to feel free in order to affirm freedom. Affirm freedom and you will feel freedom. Emotion follows thought as a shadow follows the body. Now we enter your inner laboratory. Close your eyes after you finish this paragraph and practice the main exercise. First, decide that you will observe the first spark before each impulse. Do not judge it, observe it. Say within, I observe, and by observing, I govern. Second, when the thought appears, I need this. I can't bear this emptiness. Just a little. Recognize it as an old seed. Say, this is an echo, not a command. Third, name it with serenity. The old suggestion appears. I bless it and let it go. Fourth, breathe 3 times slowly and deeply. As you inhale, imagine light. As you exhale, imagine releasing the rope of the knot. Fifth, plant the new seed immediately, simple and firm. I am free. The peace of God fills me. I choose life. Do it now. Do it tonight. Do it tomorrow upon waking. Plant the new idea with feeling, like a farmer who waters his garden at dawn. What you water grows. Perhaps you ask, and if the impulse returns, observe again the first thought. There lies the root. Do not enter combat. For what you fight, you perpetuate. Contemplate it and replace it. You are training the subconscious as one trains a noble horse. It is not tamed with lashes, but guided with a firm hand and a calm voice. Repeat gently, again and again. My deep mind now accepts the pattern of freedom. The old habit dries up and falls away. I move forward in serenity. Repetition is the law of growth. The law does not fail. Arturo obeyed. He wrote down the first thought. He greeted it and released it. He planted his new word. After a week, he spoke of a different night. He passed by the bar and heard the old whisper, "Come in." He smiled and said, "I don't need that. My peace is born within me." He walked 2 more blocks, bought a book, went home, prayed, slept. Not magic, law. He sowed another seed and harvested another fruit. Remember these truths and carry them with you. Addiction is a program, not your identity. The conscious mind chooses, the subconscious executes. A repeated thought becomes a belief, and belief expresses itself as habit. Fear binds, truth frees. What is imprinted can be re-imprinted. Begin today with the exercise of the first thought. Observe, name, release, replace. Repeat with feeling. I am free, I am whole, I am at peace. Do it upon waking and before sleeping, when the door between the 2 minds is ajar and the message enters gently. You will see the old knot loosen, the chain lose strength, and the golden river of life flow again through your veins. May the light of the universal mind visit you tonight. May peace become your habit. May freedom become your custom. May good become your automatic response. Affirm with me right now and let your subconscious engrave it with gentle fire. I am free in God now and forever. My thought is my rudder. I sail safely toward harbors of health, joy, and sovereignty. So it is, and so it remains. Chapter 2. Why Willpower Fails. I want you to see the law as it is, not as it was told to you. Tense will is like pushing a door that actually opens toward you. The harder you push, the more you resist the natural movement. This is what I call the law of reversed effort. What you resist persists because attention is a magnet and emotion is fuel. If you say through clenched teeth, "I will not smoke," your inner screen fills with smoke. Your subconscious does not hear the negative particle. It only receives the vivid image. And what is vivid, it repeats. Therefore, you do not fight the habit. You establish a new pattern that replaces it. This is the key. You redirect energy. You do not block it. Your conscious mind may decide, and your subconscious mind executes. And when will battles imagination, and imagination wins 9 times out of 10. If you command yourself not to drink, yet inwardly imagine the glass, feel the relief of the first sip, and see yourself laughing at the bar, imagination wins. Why? Because the subconscious works through images and sensations. like a silent laboratory, that takes whatever formula you give it and reproduces it precisely. If the formula is struggle, it manufactures tension. If the formula is freedom, it manufactures serenity. "Be it done unto you according to your belief," said Jesus. In mental law, what you accept with feeling, you organize into experience. Observe the principle of contrary suggestion. When you impose a rigid command, don't think of cigarettes. The lower mind reacts like a mischievous child. The moment you say, "Don't touch that vase," all its attention goes to the vase. The command, charged with emotion, becomes a center of awareness. Forcefully closing one pathway opens a hole in the wall opposite. Desire intensifies. That is why naked willpower fails. It does not correct the printed pattern, it irritates it. Mental energy flows like electric current. If you tie knots in a live wire, you do not cancel the electricity. You create heat and spark. The right approach is to change the circuit. Allow me to illustrate with the case of Hector, 40 years old, sales manager. He had smoked since he was 15 and he had vowed to quit by willpower at least 50 times. Threw packs into the toilet, made promises, placed bets with friends, taped notes to the fridge. Every attempt ended the same way, more anxiety, more smoke. He arrived exhausted. "Doctor, I have no character." I answered with pastoral calm, "No, you do have character. What you lack is technique." I explained the law of reversed effort and the imaginal nature of the subconscious, and I said, "You are not going to fight the cigarette. You are going to celebrate your freedom as a present fact. Do not command yourself, don't smoke. Command, I breathe clean, I am at peace, and feel it." On the first day, we applied what I call the technique of non-resistance. I told him, when the urge arrives, don't push it and don't cover it. Watch it as you would watch a wave form and dissolve. Say gently, "Here is the old wave," and take 3 deep breaths and observe the rise and fall. Don't smoke, don't run, just observe. What you resist remains. What you observe without feeding dissolves. Non-resistance is not passivity, and it is mental hygiene, like a pharmacist letting a cloudy liquid settle. To separate the sediment, you let the agitation drop, and the contents become clear. Meanwhile, we imprint the new pattern, morning and night, when the door between conscious and subconscious is ajar. Hector would lie back, relax from feet to head, and pronounce with faith, "My lungs are pink gardens, clean and strong. The breath of God flows through me, and every cell rejoices, and I am free." I asked him to feel it as a present truth and not as a future wish. Right emotion is the medicine. That activates the electrons of the image in the brain. During small intervals of the day, he repeated, "Peace, power, purity." After 1 week, some urges deflated in 30 seconds. After 14 days, the peak of anxiety dropped in half. On day 21, he said, smiling, "Doctor, I walked past the kiosk and my hand didn't move. I found myself breathing deeply, savoring the air." He achieved permanent freedom through correct mental method in 21 days. Willpower had failed in 50 attempts. Law, applied with method, succeeded in 3 weeks. He did not fight, he replaced. I want you to understand the inner mechanics of this replacement. Your subconscious is like a photographic plate. The plate does not argue with the lens. It records whatever image it receives, light and shadow. If you place before the lens the image of chemical relief, the plate captures it. If you place the clear image of respiratory peace, the plate captures that too. Repeated exposure engraves the same image until the pattern reveals itself in behavior. So it is with liquor, tobacco, gambling, screens. The old thought ordered you, endure. The new thought instructs you, imagine and accept. One produces contraction and the other produces conversion. You may ask, then I don't need will, and you do, but not as a whip, as a rudder. Will serves to steer attention back to the right image again and again with gentle firmness. You use will to take your mental seat, close your eyes and feel the desired state. You use will to repeat even when you don't feel like it. This is intelligent discipline, but the creation of a new habit is not the work of will. It is the work of imagination infused with faith. Will opens the door, imagination furnishes the room. Some tell me, if I don't repress myself, I'll lose control. That fear comes from confusing freedom with license. Non-resistance is not permission to act the impulse. It is permission to feel it pass, like a doctor feeling a pulse, without being carried away by tachycardia. At the first wave, do not run to the old rituals. Say, I see you, I do not need you. Peace sustains me. Breathe, watch the rise and fall. At first it seems eternal, and then you discover it lasts far less than you believed. You are re-educating the nervous system, teaching the body that relief does not come from outside, but from the inner source. Peace I leave you, my peace I give you. In terms of law, peace is an accepted state, not a bottle, not an object, not a screen. Another will ask, and if I fail one day, you are not failing, you are measuring. Each episode observed without acting weakens old synaptic connections, like roots drying for lack of water. Each felt affirmation strengthens the new pathway. Neurophysiology confirms what spiritual science teaches. Unused pathways atrophy. Used pathways grow stronger. Where attention goes, structure grows, and that is why I insist on the sacred schedule. Upon waking and before sleep, devote 3 to 5 minutes to sowing your freedom. And at these thresholds of the day, the deep mind is more receptive, like moist soil. Sow peace, harvest peace. Let me offer a kitchen parable. A pot on the fire boils and overflows, and if you put the lid on and raise the flame, that is what tense will does, and it covers and heats. But when you lower the flame, breathe, lift the lid slightly, observe without judgment, and change the contents, the pot stabilizes. The liquid does not vanish by decree. Its behavior changes because conditions change. Your impulse is the pot. Your conscious breathing lowers the heat. Your decree and vision change the contents. As simple as a household task, as scientific as law. Now practice. I give you, with tested authority, the technique of non-resistance for this chapter. When the urge arises to drink, to smoke, to gamble, to scroll, stop where you are. Do not run. Feel the soles of your feet. Relax your jaw. Say inwardly with kindness, here is the old wave. Bring attention to the breath. Inhale to a count of 4, hold for 2. Exhale to a count of 6, and do 3 cycles. Watch the wave rise and fall as you exhale. Imagine releasing invisible cords tied to your chest. Then install the replacement pattern with serene emotion. My peace is born within me. I breathe freedom and I am complete now. For 10 seconds, visualize your lungs clean, your face calm, and your immediate future without the addictive object, and you smiling with authentic relief. Resume your activity. If the wave returns, repeat the process. Each repetition is a precise dose of mental medicine. Consistency heals. Return now to the principle. Will fails when it confronts imagination. It triumphs when it works with imagination. You direct with gentleness. Your image creates with power. Your subconscious obeys with precision. This is how you change a pattern. Do not call yourself weak. You are strong and disciplined in the essential, returning again and again to inner peace until peace becomes habit. Hector the sales manager is not an isolated miracle. He is testimony to law. 9 out of 10 who practice sincerely for 21 days report a notable decrease in craving and a new sense of mastery. The exception does not invalidate the rule. It only asks for perseverance. I close with an affirmation. I ask you to pronounce now calmly as one who drops a seed into good soil. I do not fight, I replace, and I do not resist, I redirect. The deep mind in me accepts today the pattern of freedom. Whenever the old wave rises, I observe, breathe, and let it pass. The peace of God in me is my relief, my rest, my strength. I am free now. Your word is law to your mind. Stay with the law, and the law will uphold you. Chapter 3, The Law of Substitution. Replace, do not repress, and everything in nature moves by substitution, and nothing is destroyed. Everything transforms. If you remove the air from a glass, another element fills the space, water, smoke, vapor. The universe abhors a vacuum, and your mind, a microcosm of the universe, obeys the same law. When you try to uproot a thought, an emotion, or a habit without offering a replacement, the deep mind, confused, rushes to fill that void with the familiar, with the old, with whatever previously eased the emptiness. This is why so many who quit an addiction by sheer willpower relapse, not because the weakness is stronger, but because they planted nothing new where the old root was removed. Your subconscious cannot maintain 2 contradictory patterns simultaneously. When one pattern is firmly established with emotion, the other dissolves. Plant freedom and slavery dries up. Plant health and illness fades. Plant joy and pain loses ground. The deep mind is a fertile garden. It does not question whether the seed is wheat or weeds, flowers or thorns. It simply germinates what is given. If the gardener in haste pulls weeds without planting something beautiful, the bare earth will attract seeds from the wind, and soon the unwanted will sprout again. The same occurs with mental habits. It is not enough to say, I will not do this anymore. You must declare, now I choose this instead. Consider this with calm clarity. The impulse that torments you is not the enemy. It is energy without direction. Energy, like electric current, can light a lamp or burn a house depending on how you guide it. The law of substitution teaches you to redirect it. Do not repress, transform. Whenever an addictive urge arises, do not judge yourself. Use that same energy as a signal that the mind seeks new nourishment. The impulse is the sign that the subconscious is receptive. At that moment, pronounce your new word. Do not wait for perfect calm. Use the fire to forge the metal. Let me tell you a story that demonstrated this law miraculously. A middle-aged woman, whom I will call Clara, came to me desperate. She had tried everything to control her compulsive eating. Strict diets, therapies, fasts, promises. Every effort ended in the same circle. Days of abstinence, followed by nights of binging and tears. "I feel something inside me is controlling me," she said. I replied, "Nothing external controls you. It is a repeated idea. Do not fight the old idea. Replace it." I asked her to visualize 3 times a day the image of herself, healthy, light, serene, wearing the clothes she had always dreamed of. Walking with confident steps, breathing deeply, laughing freely, speaking with calmness. My mind and body are in perfect harmony. I love life and nourish myself only with what gives me strength. I am free. I explained that the subconscious does not distinguish between external reality and vividly felt image. For it, what you imagine with emotion is a present fact. Plant the image of health with joy, and the mind will produce the means to make it real. During the first days, the old suggestion returned, "I need to eat something to calm myself." No! She followed the instructions, breathed, smiled, and said, "I do not need to calm down. I'm already at peace." Instead of opening the refrigerator, she opened her heart to the new image. In 3 weeks, the habit began to weaken. Anxiety decreased, and in 2 months she had lost weight effortlessly without struggle. Her final statement was, "I did not win a battle, I changed my nature." She had understood the law. This law of substitution works in all areas. If a fearful thought arises, do not fight it, because in fighting it, you feed it. Say calmly, "God in me is peace, all is well." If resentment appears, do not repress it. Replace it with understanding. I release everyone and I release myself. If a feeling of emptiness arises, do not fill it with things. Fill it with love and purpose. Life flows in me and satisfies me. Every word spoken this way is a golden seed. Repeated with feeling, it takes root in the subconscious and bears fruit according to its nature. Many fail because they stop midway. They believe that eliminating the bad is enough. They do not understand that when the mind is left empty, it draws again from the familiar. It is like a closed room where you remove the air without opening the windows. The vacuum calls in external pressure, and air rushes in with force. The mind requires movement. If you do not guide it, it fills itself with the oldest patterns. This is why the secret is to substitute, not suppress. When you say, "I no longer want this vice," you are looking backward. When you affirm, "I choose my freedom," you are looking forward. One gaze creates shadow, the other creates light. Energy follows the direction of your attention. Do not look at what you fear. Contemplate what you love. Repression is shadow, substitution is sun. Observe the law at work in nature. When spring arrives, there is no need to fight winter. The growing warmth replaces the cold. The new season asserts itself by presence, not by war. The same occurs with your mind. You do not need to fight addiction. Make thoughts of freedom bloom, and the old winter will dissolve. Many seek to heal by battling what they call an inner demon. There is no demon. There is habit, memory, misdirected energy. If you light a lamp in a dark room, the darkness does not exit through the door. It simply vanishes before the light. You do not expel shadow, you introduce clarity. Thus acts the law. Do not repress darkness, ignite a luminous idea. Your obedient, precise subconscious cannot hold 2 opposing images at once. When the image of freedom becomes firm, the image of slavery vanishes effortlessly. The change seems miraculous, but it is natural. Light and shadow do not argue. Light appears and shadow dissolves. I invite you to practice the impulse substitution technique. It is simple yet powerful. When the addictive urge arises, cigarette, drink, phone, food, do not enter battle. Stop, breathe. Recognize the impulse as a signal, not an enemy. Say inwardly, calmly, and with certainty, "I am free, I am complete, I am at peace." Repeat the phrase 3 times, feeling each word as a key that opens a door to serenity. Then visualize your free self, smiling, in control, breathing deeply. Stay a few seconds in this image. Do this every time the old impulse appears. Each repetition is a sowing, and each sowing is a new sprout. If one day you yield, do not condemn yourself. Simply resume the process. Nature allows for rains and droughts, but spring always returns. Consistency prevails. Remember this. No thought is erased, it is only replaced. No vacuum lasts, it only waits to be filled. Choose which seed you will plant in your inner soil. When the old image appears, smile and say, I already have a better image. This is how you educate the subconscious, which, like a child, learns by repetition and example. In a few weeks, you will notice the urge losing strength and the new state becoming natural. A woman once said to me, "I have spent my whole life fighting what I do not want." I answered, "Start today to fall in love with what you do want. That is the entire alchemy. Fall in love with health, purity, serenity, freedom. Speak of them, think of them, imagine them, feel them. Make them your daily mental nourishment. And you will see how, without struggle or punishment, old habits drift away like dry leaves carried by the wind." Close this chapter with the affirmation that summarizes the law. The power of my mind is in what I hold today. I hold freedom, fullness, and peace. My subconscious accepts only images of good. Whenever the old habit appears, I bless it and replace it with the truth of my being. I am free, I am complete, I am at peace. Repeat this upon waking, before sleeping, and whenever you feel the echo of the past. It is the conscious sowing of your new harvest. The mind cannot tolerate emptiness. Give it the fullness of good, and the good will remain with you. Chapter 4. The Total Freedom Treatment. We now arrive at the highest point of this teaching, the spiritual treatment that definitively establishes the pattern of total freedom in your subconscious mind. You've understood that addiction is neither sin nor weakness, but a mental programming sustained by repetition and emotion. Well, any programming can be replaced by another. Here you will learn to do so with science, order, and living faith. Remember, the subconscious is fertile soil. Everything you plant in it with emotion, belief, and consistency germinates and manifests. But the wise sower knows the right hours of the day. There are two moments when the deep mind is most receptive: upon awakening and just before sleep. Upon waking, the subconscious emerges from rest and receives the first impressions as instructions for the day. Before sleep, the door between conscious and subconscious opens again, and the last images and ideas enter as guests that stay all night working. That is why the ancients said, "At bedtime, place peace in your heart. What you deposit at that moment will transform into visible realities." The total freedom treatment works on this principle. It is not a plea. It is an instruction directed to the deep mind. It does not call upon distant power. It awakens the inner power. What we declare with full conviction is imprinted in the subconscious like a mold, and the subconscious, faithful to universal law, reproduces that mold in experience. Let us see why it works. Your subconscious does not argue, reason, or analyze. It accepts images or words accompanied by emotion. If you say, "I am free," with doubt, it does not penetrate. If you say it with the feeling of reality, even if at first you see no proof, the pattern begins to form. Cells, glands, nervous impulses, your entire organism responds to the new dominant idea. Modern medical science has shown that the brain forms new connections when an affirmation is repeated with faith and visualization. Thus, mental law coincides with biological law. What you repeat is structured, what you feel is imprinted. Let me tell you about Ernesto, a man who had reached his limit. He had been drinking since age 17. By 50, his liver was destroyed. Doctors told him there was no hope. One desperate night, a friend spoke to him of mental law and brought him to me. His gaze was defeated, but in his voice there remained a thread of faith. I explained, "Ernesto, your deep mind created the habit. The same mind can create freedom, and do not complain, reprogram. We are going to teach your subconscious a new song." I gave him the total freedom treatment and asked him to recite it in the morning upon waking, and at night before sleep for 21 consecutive days, calmly and devotedly. I said, "It does not matter if you do not feel it yet. Feeling will come with repetition. If doubt arises, repeat it anyway. Consistency is what engraves the new groove in your mind." The treatment I gave him, and now give to you, is as follows. I am free from all slavery. My subconscious mind now accepts my complete freedom. Every compulsion dissolves in the light of truth. The presence of God within me guides and strengthens me. I feel my freedom as a completed fact. Peace fills me, serenity surrounds me, divine power sustains me. I am free, free, free. I instructed him to say it softly, sitting or lying down and with a relaxed body and calm breath. After reciting it, he should remain silent for a few seconds, visualizing a simple image. Himself serene, walking under the morning sun, and with a joyful face, a strong body, and clear eyes. He was to feel this image as if it were already true. During the first days, the old impulse appeared strongly. I insisted, "Do not repress it, do not blame yourself, do not yield to despair." Observe the impulse and repeat the treatment. On day 14, he wrote me a note. Last night I slept deeply for the first time in years. Upon waking, I felt a peace I had never known. By day 21, he came to see me with new energy. He had not touched alcohol for 3 weeks, and his skin looked different. He said, "I do not know how, but I have no desire." I replied, "You do know, you imprinted it." He continued the treatment for another 40 days. Years passed. Ernesto never drank again. The treatment is not magic, and it is the precise application of a mental and spiritual law. It works because it directs your attention and emotion toward an image of freedom already realized. Remember, the subconscious creates according to the model you provide. If you visualize struggle, it creates struggle. If you visualize peace, it creates peace. That is why the correct mental attitude is to feel freedom as present, not as a future goal. When you say, "I will be free," you place freedom in a tomorrow that never arrives. When you affirm, "I am free now," the subconscious accepts the now as permanent reality. Practice as follows. Morning. Upon waking, before the day's thoughts invade, remain in silence for a few moments. Breathe deeply 3 times. Recite the treatment with attention. Do not do it mechanically. Feel each phrase. Imagine you are turning on lights in the rooms of your mind. Visualize your day flowing with calm, joy, and self-mastery. See your body obey the new idea. Light, strong, luminous. Night. Just before sleep, repeat the same treatment. Feel yourself bathing in a current of light. Relax every part of your body, feet, legs, abdomen, chest, arms, face. Let your words fall like drops of oil upon the subconscious. After the final decree, "I am free, free, free," let sleep take you. That affirmation will be the last impression your deep mind receives before entering its nocturnal work. The ideal time to establish a new pattern is a minimum of 21 days, because that is the cycle in which brain and subconscious consolidate a new pathway. Many continue for 40 days or a lifetime. Repetition does not tire, it renews. Each recitation strengthens the new path. Let us briefly analyze each phrase. "I am free from all slavery," and this is the declaration of fact. You do not say, "I want to be free." You affirm what already exists in the spiritual realm. My subconscious mind now accepts my complete freedom. Here you give direct instruction to the creative power. You tell the subconscious which pattern to maintain, not with force, but with serene authority. Every compulsion dissolves in the light of truth. You name the process as dissolution, not struggle. Light does not argue with shadow. It dissolves it by presence. The presence of God within me guides and strengthens me. You introduce the idea of inner assistance. You are not alone. The life principle that pulses in every atom is with you, cooperating. I feel my freedom as a completed fact. Feeling is the key. The emotion of freedom opens the subconscious. Feel the joy of being whole and at peace. Peace fills me. Serenity surrounds me. Divine power sustains me. Here you stabilize the new pattern. Peace is the seal of mental achievement, and I am free, free, free. The triple repetition engraves the idea with rhythmic force. Practice this treatment with faith. If you forget one day, do not punish yourself. Resume the next. Consistency matters more than perfection. Within a few weeks, you will notice impulses lose power. The mind that once obeyed addiction now obeys freedom. I have received hundreds of letters from people who used this treatment and freed themselves from habits they believed invincible. Some were heavy smokers, others drinkers, others dependent on gambling or toxic relationships. All agreed. When they stopped fighting and began affirming their freedom with faith, the change occurred. Remember, your word, felt and believed, is law for your mind. Do not plead, declare, do not fear, trust. The subconscious does not distinguish between divine and human command. It only recognizes dominant emotion. Declare freedom with certainty of feeling, and your inner universe will reorganize all its forces in your favor. Close your eyes for a few seconds and repeat with me now, "I am free from all slavery." My subconscious mind now accepts my complete freedom. Every compulsion dissolves in the light of truth. The presence of God within me guides and strengthens me. I feel my freedom as a completed fact. Peace fills me, serenity surrounds me, divine power sustains me. I'm free, free, free. Let these words resonate in your chest. Breathe deeply. Feel that something deep within you has begun to move. The process has started. The seed is sown. Cultivate it each day and you will see a freedom blossom. That will not depend on willpower, but on understanding. True strength does not come from fighting shadows, but from lighting the light that dissolves all darkness. Chapter 5. The Visualization of the Liberated Self. In this chapter, I open the door to the great creative workshop of your destiny, disciplined imagination. If you have followed each previous step, you already know that your subconscious mind does not distinguish between real experience and vividly imagined experience. The subconscious is like a silent projector. It takes the image you provide, illuminates it with your emotion, and transforms it into lived experience. Just as an actor fully embodies a role, moving the audience to tears, so your deep mind embodies the dominant image you cultivate each day. If you want to free yourself from any habit, you must first see yourself as free with absolute clarity and genuine emotion, until that vision becomes more real to you than any memory of failure. I have witnessed men and women transform years of compulsion in just 30 days of consistent visualization. This is not a miracle in the ordinary sense, but the result of mental law applied with precision. Why does visualization work? Because the subconscious responds to images charged with feeling. A repeated, felt image becomes a directive. The subconscious accepts it as reality and mobilizes your nervous system, habits, and external circumstances to conform to this new truth. This explains why destructive habits take root in life. The mind accepts an image of weakness, emptiness, or anxiety as real, and the body acts accordingly. But just as you sowed the old pattern, you can sow the new. There is no limit to transformation once you understand this truth. The technique is simple, but it demands sincerity and discipline. The 3 elements of effective visualization. 1. Clarity of the image. It is not enough to say, "I want to be free." You must see yourself as completely free, living naturally, serenely, and fully satisfied. Close your eyes and observe yourself on your mental screen. Notice the details: your calm face, your relaxed body, your surroundings filled with light and joy. What are you doing in that image? Who is with you? What activities bring you delight? The more precise and sensory the vision, the more quickly the deep mind will accept it as a new directive. 2. Emotion of gold. Do not visualize as a distant observer, but as the protagonist. Feel the joy, peace, and deep satisfaction of living free from the old compulsion. Imagine the lightness in your chest, the freshness of your breath, the clarity of your mind. If emotion does not appear at first, do not worry. Repeat the image and add inspiring details. Recall pleasurable sensations from the past and link them to your new life. Soon, your mind will begin to associate pleasure and freedom as a single state. 3. Disciplined repetition. The subconscious learns through consistency. An isolated thought evaporates. A repeated image becomes root and fruit. Set aside 10 minutes at waking or before sleep, when the subconscious is most open. If you practice twice a day, the process accelerates. Find a quiet place. Sit or lie comfortably. Close your eyes, breathe deeply 3 times, and prepare your mind as one would clean a canvas before painting. The mental screen technique. Imagine a large luminous screen before you, like an interior cinema. Project onto it the image of yourself completely free. If the old impulse was drinking, see yourself at a social gathering with a glass of water or juice, smiling, conversing, feeling peace. If the addiction was tobacco, visualize your lungs breathing pure air, your skin glowing, your breath fresh. If it was gambling, see yourself enjoying a walk outdoors, reading a book, having a deep conversation, feeling whole and fulfilled. Feel safe, light, and joyful. Allow the image to grow in sharpness and color. Do it patiently, like tending a fragile plant that soon takes root and grows strong. If your mind becomes distracted, and it will at first, do not judge yourself. Return again and again to the screen like a painter refining each stroke until perfect. Discipline is the mother of all transformation. Let me share the story of Ricardo, a man enslaved by gambling for over 15 years. He had lost friends, family, work, and was on the brink of ruin. A friend already practicing mental law introduced him to disciplined visualization. Ricardo began each morning before anything else, and each night, before sleep, seeing himself completely free. He imagined leaving the house with a steady step, greeting his wife joyfully, enjoying a peaceful meal, passing by a casino without interest or anxiety, as one passes a river without feeling the need to jump in. Whenever the old craving appeared, he returned mentally to his screen and made it brighter, warmer, more real. For 30 days, he devoted 15 minutes daily to this practice. At first, the mind dragged him to old images, the sound of machines, the clamor, the false euphoria. He did not fight these visions. He simply replaced them with the image of the liberated self. By the end of the month, he noticed the compulsion had weakened considerably. On day 45, he wrote to me, "It has been 2 weeks without gambling temptation. I do not feel emptiness. I feel peace. The old pattern had dissolved. The new one had taken root. I did not fight. I replaced. I did not repress. I created a better reality in my mind and my body obeyed." Common errors to avoid. Practicing mechanically without emotion. Law responds to feeling, not boredom. If tired, visualize 2 or 3 minutes, but do it with your whole heart, changing the image daily. Maintain the primary vision until you feel it has become flesh and blood, doubting the process because you see no immediate results. Nature requires cycles. A seed does not bear fruit overnight. Faithful repetition guarantees success. The 10-minute freedom visualization exercise. Find a quiet place. Sit comfortably. Close your eyes. Breathe deeply 3 times. Visualize the mental screen. Project yourself living a perfect day in freedom. Feel how you move lightly. Enjoy the company of loved ones and reflect peace and joy on your face. Visualize your hands free, your mouth clean, your breath full, your heart grateful. Add sounds, colors, scents, everything that makes the image vivid. If doubt or old compulsions arise, observe them without fear and gently return to the vision of your liberated self. Remain in this scene for 10 minutes, letting the emotion of achievement fill your entire being. When finished, open your eyes slowly and give thanks for the freedom that is already yours internally. Repeat this exercise daily. Soon you will notice impulses losing power, your mind choosing new paths on its own, and your external reality reflecting the image you have planted. Remember, the deep mind does not distinguish between what occurs outside and what you imagine with force and emotion. What you hold inside will, sooner or later, manifest outside. Plant your freedom with the clearest, most joyful vision you can. Do it today, tomorrow, until it becomes natural to see yourself as a full, healthy, serene, and free being. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and affirm with conviction, "I see my life full, free, and happy. I now feel the peace and deep satisfaction of freedom. What I behold in my mind, I receive in my experience. I am free now and forever." Thus the image is sown, ready to bloom in your subconscious. The law responds, freedom is on its way. Stay with the vision, stay anchored, and you will witness the promise of a new life fulfilled. Chapter 6. Alcoholism, the Liquid Prison. If any addiction has left deep marks on society and the hearts of countless families, it is alcohol addiction. Alcoholism is a liquid prison, a glass that begins as relief but ends as a chain, and the desire to escape pain opens the door to persistent slavery. Here in these pages I affirm with full conviction, no chain is stronger than the correctly applied mental law, and no habit is eternal if you re-educate the subconscious power that sustains it. The psychological root of alcoholism. It is not, as many believe, simply a lack of character or moral weakness. The true origin is an unconscious attempt to escape pain, emptiness, fear, failure, or old wounds. When the soul finds no comfort, it seeks artificial relief. When the heart has no peace, it clings to the bottle as if it were a harbor in the storm. Thus the illusion arises, alcohol gives me relief, courage, and forgetfulness. But the relief is momentary and the price is high. Freedom, health, dignity, and authentic joy. The subconscious records every experience with intense emotion. If in a moment of suffering you find apparent relief in alcohol, that image becomes deeply engraved. With each new difficulty, the deep mind suggests the same solution. Soon the path becomes a highway, and the habit becomes a reflex. It is not enough to blame the past or fight with willpower alone. The deep mind must receive a new image and emotion, more powerful than the old artificial comfort. In addition to emotional pain, there is another hidden factor: subconscious beliefs of inadequacy, of unworthiness, of being damaged or incomplete. Alcohol then becomes a disguise, a social mask, an attempt to fill what only the recognition of self-worth can satisfy. Some, even without major tragedies, inherit addictive patterns from parents or grandparents. The subconscious, like fertile soil, absorbs family beliefs, myths of strong men who drink, or the idea that liquor is essential for celebration and social life. Remember always, what the subconscious learned can be transformed by conscious thought. What your subconscious absorbed, your awareness can re-educate. The first step: understanding, not fighting. The first step to freedom from alcoholism is not struggle, but understanding. When you realize that the root is a mental image, not a physical necessity, you begin to see the way out. The next step is to replace the false peace of alcohol with true inner peace. You cannot fight the emptiness. You must fill it with something greater, truer, more powerful. Here enters the spiritual law, the spiritual treatment for alcoholism. The treatment is simple, repeated, and profound. At waking and before sleep, when the subconscious is most receptive, repeat with sincere emotion the following decree. Alcohol has no power over me. My peace comes from God within me. I am complete and satisfied without external substances. I feel my body clean and my mind free. Every cell responds to my new thought of purity and strength. I feel good about myself wherever I am. Joy arises from within me and is permanent. Divine grace fills and sustains me, and I am free, free, free. This treatment is not just an affirmation, it is a daily re-education of the subconscious. Each time you repeat it, imagine your body healthy, your breath pure, your hands steady, your days full of inspiring activities. If the mind resists and says, "I can't," return to the affirmation calmly, as one repeats a melody that gradually overcomes the noise. Do not fight the impulse. Observe it, breathe, and speak your decree. If possible, recite it in front of a mirror looking into your own eyes. Feel something true and deep awaken within. Overcoming social challenges. One great challenge is the social environment. Custom leads many to feel that refusing a drink is rejecting friends, family, or celebration itself. Here, a practical technique helps. Before any gathering, visualize yourself entering with steady steps and a sincere smile. If someone offers alcohol, imagine your calm response. "Thank you. I feel very well this way." Notice how most people respect your confidence. Practice this mentally each day, and when the moment comes, you will act naturally and confidently. The rehearsed mind overcomes the doubt of the moment. A case study, Raoul. Raoul drank 2 bottles daily for 15 years. He had lost family, work, and hope. Doctors and loved ones declared him a lost case. When he came to me, his voice trembled, and so did his hands. I taught him the specific treatment presented here, and asked for 40 consecutive days of unwavering practice. At first, temptation was overwhelming. Whenever desire arose, he paused, closed his eyes, and repeated with strength, "Alcohol has no power over me. My peace comes from God within me. I am complete and satisfied without external substances." Days passed. Nights were filled with sweat and anxiety, but he did not give in. He breathed, affirmed, visualized. By day 40, he felt as if an invisible door had opened. He told me, "For the first time in years, I walked past a bar and felt no pull. I felt peace, joy, and freedom." 10 years later, Raoul remains sober and writes me a letter of gratitude each year. It was not brute willpower. It was consistency and spiritual law. Key principle. Remember, the compulsion for alcohol is not overcome by fighting, but by occupying the mental space previously filled by drink with presence, peace, love, and inner satisfaction. You cannot empty the sea with your hands, but you can open a channel to redirect its waters usefully. Open the channel of your mind to the higher power within. Let the decree be your shield and your key. Use it in the morning, at night, before social situations, and whenever the old impulse appears. Do not fear relapse. Each day of practice is a day of victory. The habit dries up from lack of mental nourishment, and freedom grows with every seed of truth you plant. Closing affirmation. Alcohol has no power over me. My peace comes from God within me. I am complete and satisfied without external substances. Today I choose life, joy, and freedom, and I am free now and forever. This is your word. Your word is law for your mind. Speak it, breathe it, act it. The river of freedom flows within you. Stay in its channel and life will sustain you. Chapter 7. Tobacco, Breaking the Chains of Smoke. No. Let me speak to you about a habit that has seduced generations under the guise of pleasure, distinction, or comfort. Tobacco. Much more than a physical habit, the act of smoking is, in reality, a subconscious ritual. The mind associates the cigarette with relaxation after a long day, identity within certain circles, belonging during social gatherings, or a brief respite amid stress. The cigarette becomes an emotional crutch, a companion in solitude, a symbol seemingly saying, "I am in control. I decide." Yet behind that smoke lies an invisible chain that tightens with each repetition. It is not enough to quit smoking physically. If you do not reprogram the deep associations in your subconscious, the void left by the cigarette will demand to be filled, whether by another habit, by anxiety, or even by illness. Here lies the root of many relapses. The subconscious requires a new image, a genuine sense of satisfaction, a sense of identity and belonging that arises from inner truth, not from an external substance. Emotional triggers of tobacco. Consider the moments that once compelled you to smoke. Perhaps you smoked after completing a difficult task, as a reward or signal of a well-deserved pause. Perhaps in moments of solitude, the smoke became company. In uncomfortable conversations, the cigarette offered refuge. At parties, it served as a bridge to approach others. All these moments have one thing in common. The cigarette was associated with relief, identity, and belonging. The mistake is not in seeking peace or companionship. The mistake is in seeking it outside, in something that ultimately takes more than it gives. True liberation requires observing these patterns without judgment. Do not blame yourself for seeking comfort. Recognize that your subconscious learned a mistaken path, and now you have the power to guide it toward a new one. The spiritual science of reprogramming. Repetition of higher ideas and emotions impressed with conviction dissolves the old habit and establishes freedom as a natural state. I invite you to practice the 21-day treatment for permanent tobacco freedom. This period is not arbitrary. Studies and testimonies show that 21 days are sufficient for the subconscious to deactivate an old association and begin consolidating a new one. The key is consistency and depth of feeling while reciting your treatment, every morning upon waking and every night before sleep. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, and breathe deeply 3 times. Then speak in a calm, confident voice. My lungs are pure and free. I breathe the breath of life from God, and I need no external crutches. I am free, and I am complete. I am at peace. I feel life renewing every cell of my body. Healing power flows through my veins. Nature celebrates my perfect health. I see and feel myself as a free, healthy, and happy person. Remain in silence for a minute, visualizing clean lungs, fresh skin, pure breath, and an open smile. Imagine yourself in places where you once smoked, now feeling the joy of breathing deeply, being fully present, and engaging with others from truth and inner security. Whenever the old urge to smoke arises, after a meal, during a break at work, or in a social situation, repeat your decree internally. I breathe the breath of life from God, and I am free, and accompany this with 3 slow, deep breaths, filling your chest with oxygen and your mind with calm. Case study, Amalia. Amalia smoked 2 packs a day for 30 years. She had tried every remedy and therapy, always relapsing, and each relapse brought more guilt and less hope. When she came to me, I asked her not to fight the cigarette anymore, not to see herself as the enemy of herself. I gave her the freedom treatment and the deep breathing technique as a healthy substitute. In the first days, whenever the urge arose, she would stop, sit, and breathe deeply, saying, I breathe the breath of life from God, I am free. She visualized her lungs as pink, clean gardens, vibrant with health. She imagined herself at social gatherings, smiling confidently, holding a glass of water, enjoying conversation without needing to smoke. She did not repress the desire, she simply observed it pass and filled the void with her new image and affirmation. 3 weeks later, the anxiety that had once been a storm was now a gentle breeze. At the end of the 21 days, Amalia noticed she no longer thought of cigarettes upon waking, after meals, or in conversation. The compulsion had dissolved without struggle or painful abstinence. In the following months and years, she never relapsed. Whenever she shared her testimony, she said, it was not brute force, it was the power of a felt and repeated idea. Deep breathing technique. When the urge to smoke arises, your body and mind expect the relief of the ritual. Instead of lighting a cigarette, sit, relax your shoulders and breathe slowly. Inhale counting to 4, hold for 2 seconds. Exhale counting to 6, repeat 3 times. As you breathe, repeat your affirmation of freedom. Feel the pleasure of the moment, the inner peace, the growing strength within. You are re-educating your nervous system. You are teaching your mind and body that relaxation and peace come from within, not from any external object. A common mistake is believing that you must first quit smoking to feel free afterward. Do it the opposite way. Plant in your mind the certainty that you are already free, and the habit will fall away like a dry leaf at the end of autumn. Feel now the joy, health, and serenity you desire. Repeat your decree. Visualize your freedom and give thanks as if it were already a realized fact. Main exercise. When you feel the desire to smoke, say aloud or internally, "My lungs are pure and free, and I breathe the breath of life from God. I need no external crutches. I am free." Do this every time for 21 days. Observe how the urge loses power, how peace occupies the place of the old habit, and how your health flourishes effortlessly. Remember, the subconscious obeys the dominant image and emotion. Plant freedom, and you will harvest freedom. Just like Amalia, you too can walk through the old scenes of your habit, feeling light, healthy, and whole. Let freedom become a habit. Let health return to your natural state, and let life confirm each day that you are complete, without crutches, whole, without smoke, happy from the inside out. Breathe deeply and celebrate your victory. Chapter 8. Hidden Addictions, Food, Gambling, and Other Compulsions. I want you to look beyond the obvious addictions. It is not only alcohol or tobacco that chain the human being. There are subtle forms of slavery that, though socially accepted or even celebrated, wear down the mind and steal peace. I refer to compulsive eating, pathological gambling, impulsive shopping, dependence on technology, obsessive jealousy, and the relentless pursuit of approval. All of these are branches of the same tree, the search for fulfillment outside, when in truth it can only be found within. Many ask, why can't I stop eating too much, and why do I feel empty if I don't gamble? Why do I return again and again to the same behavior, even knowing it harms me? The answer is always the same. A spiritual void, an internal disconnection that the subconscious attempts to fill with external substitutes. Overeating, gambling, reckless spending, and compulsive behaviors are, at their core, silent cries of the soul seeking meaning, contact, purpose, and love. The mechanism of hidden addictions. The mental process is identical across all addictions. It begins with a feeling of emptiness, anxiety, or dissatisfaction. A thought arises. If I eat this, gamble there, or buy that, I will be happy. I will be at peace. I will feel complete. The image repeats. The ritual becomes habit, and the subconscious records the cycle as the fastest path to relief. But that relief is brief and superficial. Soon the emptiness returns, often deeper, accompanied by guilt or remorse. The mind repeats the cycle, seeking fulfillment, unaware that the solution is never in the object, but in the inner source. Case study, Marta. Marta turned to food for years whenever she felt lonely or afraid. A cake replaced a caress. A pizza filled the gap of a hug. She believed the hunger was physical, but it was her heart that hungered. Her body craved spiritual nourishment, yet her mind only knew the language of sugar and salt. Strict diets, exercise and fasting brought no lasting success. And only when she understood that the origin of her hunger was internal did she begin to heal. She practiced this decree every morning and night. I am complete in God. No external substance completes me. I am already whole. She visualized herself loved, accompanied, strong, and at peace. Within a month, the cravings diminished. She learned to distinguish between body hunger and soul thirst. The emptiness was filled by a new sense of inner worth and belonging. Case study, Carlos. Carlos lost his fortune, family, and dignity gambling in casinos. The thrill of risk was his daily medicine. The game, his escape from boredom and self-criticism. He kept starting over despite promises not to. In my guidance, he discovered he was not seeking luck at random. He was seeking the feeling of being alive, of having power, of challenging fate. I asked him to replace the image of gambling with that of a full and creative life, rich in real achievements. Whenever the urge to gamble arose, he would close his eyes, breathe deeply, and affirm, I am complete in God and my life is full of meaning. I find excitement and courage within myself. After 30 days, the anxiety decreased. He discovered he could enjoy the thrill of creating, serving, and learning, rather than losing to chance. The impulse disappeared, control returned, and above all, joy was restored. Your practice. Now observe your own habits honestly, without judgment. Some patterns repeat because you seek relief, belonging, love, or power. Some behaviors return despite promises to abandon them. Disguise them no longer as needs. The first step toward healing is awareness. I recognize that I seek outside what is already within me. The second step is substitution. I decide to fill my mind and heart with the certainty that I am already whole, already loved, already sufficient. No object, food, gamble, screen, or external approval can give you what God, life, or the source has already placed within. The external only temporarily reflects what you choose to feel and affirm inside. Daily treatment. Make the following treatment your daily prayer. Upon waking and before sleep, repeat aloud or mentally with full conviction. I am complete in God. No external substance or behavior completes me. I am already whole, already sufficient, already loved. Whenever the old urge arises, remember the truth. Life flows within me and fills me. My mind chooses thoughts of fullness, and my heart feels secure and at peace. I now feel the joy of being who I am. Internal joy replaces every compulsion. The elixir of life becomes your nourishment. I am free, I am complete, I am whole now. Visualize for a few minutes a scene in which you enjoy life without the presence of the old habit. If you used to overeat to calm anxiety, imagine sharing a conversation, a walk, a book, feeling the true satisfaction of belonging and peace. If you used to gamble for excitement, imagine achieving personal challenges, celebrating progress, enjoying the thrill of growth, not chance. If your mind says this is not enough, respond with love. Thank you for the notice, but I am already sufficient. If the impulse arises, observe the thought, breathe deeply and repeat, I am complete in God and I am already whole. Each repetition is a brick building the new house of your freedom. Do not be impatient if the impulse returns. Just as the sea brings old waves, your mind will bring memories. But consistency transforms the shore. One day you will discover the sea is calm, and the old habit is only a distant echo. You may think your case is different, everyone does. Yet the law is the same for all. The inner void fills with inner meaning, not with fleeting substitutes. Observe your hidden habits, name them without fear, and consciously replace them with this universal treatment. Just like Marta and Carlos, you too can recover real satisfaction, belonging, love, and joy from within. Remember, the subconscious accepts what you repeat with emotion. Make your decree your new habit. Whenever an impulse arises, stop and affirm with full faith. I am complete in God. No external substance or behavior completes me. I'm already whole. Practice it morning and night. Plant the certainty of your sufficiency and you will harvest permanent freedom, which only the connection with your inner source can give. Freedom is not a reward, it is your inheritance. Claim it. Plant the image of fullness in your subconscious and watch how, over time, all desire to seek outside what you already are dissolves into peace and joy. Thus the subtlest chains are broken and true life blooms within. Chapter 9. The Healing Power of Forgiveness. Listen to a profound truth, one that is rarely spoken in public but has the power to release centuries of suffering. Many addictions, at their deepest root, are self-punishment for old guilt, unresolved resentments, and wounds the soul has silently carried. There, in the sealed vault of the subconscious, guilt operates like a slow poison, attracting behaviors that repeat the pain and perpetuate the cycle. I don't deserve to be happy. I am worthless. I failed. I must stop. These phrases may not always echo in your conscious mind, but they vibrate silently in the depths, and the addiction delivers the final blow. The subconscious, seeking punishment or relief, chooses the destructive habit. Let me say this clearly. No one came into the world to suffer eternally. No one was born destined to be a slave to a compulsion. Guilt is a mental fog, an illusion that dissolves upon contact with truth. Resentment, whether toward others or yourself, is a poison that does not harm the other, but corrodes the root of your own well-being. Many are bound not to a substance, but to a painful memory. Forgiveness is the balm, the universal medicine that dissolves emotional knots and allows life to flow freely. How it works. If you hold resentment toward someone, every thought of anger fuels your own suffering. If the resentment is toward yourself, each painful memory reinforces the belief that you do not deserve freedom or fulfillment. The subconscious, obedient as always, responds to this hidden command, producing anxiety, guilt, and ultimately the addictive impulse as punishment or escape. Thus the cycle repeats: pain, guilt, addiction, more pain. But just as the pattern was engraved, it can also be erased. Case study: Mario. Mario, a war veteran, spent years trying to drown battlefield memories, guilt over impossible decisions, and grief for fallen friends in alcohol. He tried every cure, but each relapse made him feel more unworthy, more alone, more trapped. In our session, I asked him, "Who have you not forgiven?" He wept like a child and said, "Myself, for surviving." I explained, as long as he did not forgive himself and accept the love still living inside him, his thirst would never be quenched. Together, we practiced the scientific technique of forgiveness. The method is simple but powerful. Each morning and night, repeat aloud or silently the following decree: I completely forgive myself. I release all resentment. I accept the love of God flowing through me. I know my past no longer has power over my present. Today I choose to be free. Today I choose to love and be loved. Every mistake is a lesson. Every wound is an opportunity for healing. Forgiveness dissolves the chains and peace fills me now. I instructed Mario to recall his most painful images without fear. Visualize them enveloped in light and say mentally, "This is also forgiven. This can also heal." If a face, episode, or word caused anger or shame, he repeated the decree until he felt relief. Peace did not always come immediately. Sometimes tears, sometimes silence. But each day the burden decreased. By the third week, he told me, "For the first time in years, I slept without nightmares." After a month, his desire to drink vanished. The emotional root, guilt, had dissolved in the ocean of forgiveness. What forgiveness means? Forgiveness does not mean justifying the offense or forgetting the past. It means releasing the energy tied to the pain, letting go of the role of victim or executioner, and opening the doors to love and acceptance. Authentic forgiveness begins with oneself. I allow myself to be human, and I allow myself to learn. I allow myself to move forward. Those who do not forgive bind themselves to their own mistakes and repeat the cycle. Those who forgive rise above guilt and allow grace to work in their lives. Some say, "I cannot forgive. I don't know how." I invite you to practice the total forgiveness treatment for 21 days, morning and night, calmly, with emotion and faith in the process. At first it may hurt, like when sunlight disperses fog and the eyes ache at the brightness. Persevere. Forgiveness is a gift you give yourself, not the one who hurt you. It is the supreme act of self-acceptance, the key to true freedom. If resentment is toward others, visualize that person surrounded by light and say mentally, "I bless you and release you. You no longer have power over me. I allow you to follow your path. I am free, and you are free." If resentment is toward yourself, imagine yourself as an innocent child. Give yourself this gift of compassion and repeat, "I completely forgive myself. The love of God sustains me. I am worthy of a new life." Each day, feel an invisible burden lifting. The subconscious, receiving the command of forgiveness and self-acceptance, dissolves the emotional roots of the destructive habit. You will discover that anxiety, guilt, and compulsion lose their power. Where you once sought solace externally, you will now feel relief in the very center of your being. Exercise. Find a quiet place and sit comfortably. Close your eyes, breathe deeply 3 times, and repeat with devotion. I completely forgive myself. I release all resentment. I accept the love of God flowing through me. I know the past no longer binds me. Today I choose peace, and today I choose freedom. Do this every morning, every night, and whenever old resentment arises. Let the words wash over you like a river of relief and compassion. If tears come, let them flow. Each repetition is a step toward liberation. Remember, the healing power of forgiveness is not just an idea. It is a real energy that transforms your mind, body, and destiny. By forgiving and allowing yourself to be forgiven, you open the door to true healing. Forgiveness is the secret medicine that erases guilt and gives birth to freedom. Make it your habit, your refuge, your path, and you will see the cycle of addiction break forever, not by punishment or force, but by the love you have finally allowed yourself to receive. Peace awaits you. Accept the gift and let forgiveness heal your life from the root. Chapter 10. Handling relapses without destroying yourself. On the path to liberation, there may be stumbles. Do not ignore this fact. An occasional relapse is not a sentence to eternal slavery, nor is it an irremediable failure. It is, in reality, one of the most common stages in any profound process of change. Many, after a slip, fall into the trap of guilt and self-punishment, feeding the very cycle they wish to break. I tell you today, with the authority of one who has witnessed the mental law at work in thousands of lives, A relapse only has the power you decide to give it with your thought and reaction. Freedom is a path, not a leap, and what matters most is what you choose to do after the stumble. The greatest mistake is confusing a fall with total failure. Imagine a child learning to walk who trips and falls. Do we shout, "You failed"? No. We encourage them to get up, to try again, to celebrate every step. Your deep mind is like that child. The repetition of new patterns does not immediately erase the old ones. The subconscious, while reprogramming, may sometimes return to familiar routes under pressure, fatigue, or stress. When this happens, what matters is not the stumble, but your response afterward. Destructive guilt is the greatest obstacle after a relapse. If you give in to the inner dialogue of self-accusation, "I'll never change. I'm not good enough. I've lost all progress," you plant the seed of defeat in the subconscious, and the old habit reclaims its throne. By contrast, if you respond with compassion, wisdom, and prompt action, you turn the incident into a stepping stone toward ultimate freedom. Post-relapse protocol. When you notice you have given in to an old compulsion, follow these steps. Stop self-critical thoughts immediately. Do not allow guilt to coil like a snake in your mind. Say internally, "This is not the end. It is only an incident." Breathe deeply 3 times. Feel the air cleanse and renew your body and mind. Affirm the post-relapse decree immediately. "This incident has no power. I continue my path of freedom now. My past does not define me, and I move forward free." Remember the progress achieved. Recall the days, weeks, or months of advancement. Each victory counts. Do not erase your history for one dark day. Resume your daily treatment without fail. That very night, recite your affirmation and visualization of freedom with even more emotion than ever. Do the same the following morning. Consistency heals the stumble, and many believe a relapse is a sign of weakness or fate. It is not. It is proof that the subconscious is releasing an old pattern, and sometimes, by inertia, returns to what is familiar. But each conscious return to the treatment strengthens the new path and weakens the old one. The key is not stopping, not breaking the chain of new images and decrees. Case study: Julian. Julian struggled with alcohol for 20 years. He achieved months of sobriety through the spiritual treatment, but relapsed 3 times. Each time, guilt threatened to drag him into the abyss. Yet he chose to apply the post-relapse protocol. Instead of sinking, he repeated his decree, breathed, and returned to his daily practice. With each fall, his attitude became more compassionate and determined. By the 4th time, something changed. The old impulse lost its power, and peace occupied the center of his mind. Since then, he has gone 20 years without a single relapse, and his life is a testament to resilience and self-love. "My greatest achievement," he said, "was learning not to punish myself for mistakes." The difference between a relapse and permanent failure lies in your thought about the stumble. If your thought is, "I can't," the mind obeys and perpetuates the chain. If the thought is, "This does not define me, I move forward," the mind forgets the incident and continues weaving the pattern of freedom. Technique to recover momentum. After a relapse, dedicate the next 3 days to intensifying your treatment. Repeat your decree of freedom 3 times a day. Do your 10-minute visualization morning and night. Write on a sheet of paper the reasons you desire freedom, and read it whenever doubt arises. Make these days a sort of mental retreat, where all your focus is on the image and emotion of your liberated self. Be patient with yourself. Just as a gardener does not abandon the garden after one night of storm, do not abandon your planting because of a difficult day. The mental law responds to perseverance, not perfection. Your success lies in returning again and again to your inner truth. "I am free. This incident has no power. My past does not define me. I move forward free." This is the medicine of resilience. Over time, relapses become less frequent and less intense until they disappear completely. Always remember, freedom is not a single event. It is a daily practice. Every lesson in favor of your well-being counts, even after stumbles. Do not call yourself a failure. Call yourself a learner. Do not see yourself as broken. See yourself in progress. The sun rises every day, even if the night was long. Closing exercise. As soon as a relapse occurs, say aloud or internally, "This incident has no power. I continue my path of freedom now. My past does not define me. I move forward free." Repeat as many times as necessary. Breathe, rise, and keep walking. Each day is a new opportunity. Each fall is just a pause on the journey, never the end of the road. Your destiny is freedom, and as long as you keep your gaze on that goal, the law will support you, love will heal you, and victory will be certain. Keep moving forward. Life awaits you with open arms. Chapter 11. The Invisible Support, Scientific Prayer and Spiritual Groups. No one achieves freedom in solitude. The experience of thousands of men and women around the world confirms that the support of other human beings, united in faith and purpose, multiplies the power of every healing process. There is a mysterious and precise force unleashed when two or more people gather in scientific prayer, each holding the image of freedom, health, and wholeness for themselves and for others. This invisible, silent energy has transformed lives where willpower and reason alone seemed powerless. Scientific prayer is not an empty ritual, nor a plea to some distant power. It is the union of minds and hearts in the certainty that freedom is already possible and real. When you pray for another, you are not begging for mercy. You affirm with conviction that the divine essence within them, that spark which can never be corrupted, now rises to the surface and takes command. And when an entire group holds the same image, the collective energy creates a channel of transformation as real as electricity flowing through a network. Ancient wisdom already taught this. Where two or more are gathered in my name, there I am, in their midst. Translated into mental law, this means that when several unite their attention and feeling on a positive idea, the subconscious of each participant and of the group opens and receives the new pattern with multiplying force. How to form or join a group. The first step is simple. Find one or more sincere companions willing to sustain a vision of freedom for themselves and others. The number does not matter. 2 are enough to start. 3 or more magnify the mental field even further. Set a fixed schedule. Once a week, every evening at a specific hour, or even remotely if meeting in person is impossible. Mental law is not limited by space. The protocol for a group session is clear and direct. Begin with a few minutes of silence and deep breathing to calm the mind and tune into the feeling of peace. Each member states aloud or in their heart the purpose of the meeting. We are here to affirm the freedom and wholeness of everyone present and of every being seeking liberation. If desired, share a brief word of gratitude for progress made or blessings received. The group then recites the prayer treatment for each person in need. For example, I see Pedro completely free. His true divine nature emerges now. He is free. Repeat as many times as necessary, feeling the truth of these words, visualizing the loved one radiant in health, joy, and self-mastery. The group remains in silence for a few minutes, allowing the feeling of peace and certainty to settle in each heart. Finally, everyone gives thanks aloud for the action of mental law and departs, knowing the process has begun and continues its work, even if unseen. The story of 5 alcoholics who formed their own prayer circle is a luminous testimony of this law. They met every Friday in one of their homes, without any ceremony beyond shared conviction. At first, only one had achieved a few days of sobriety. The other 4 still struggled with frequent relapses. Yet they never stopped supporting each other in thought and word. Every session was an opportunity to affirm freedom for all. I see Pedro completely free. I see Marta completely free. I see Juan, Luis, Susana free. Divine grace sustains them. Months passed. One by one, each member achieved permanent freedom. 10 years later, they still meet to help others. This is not magic. It is mental science in action. Do not underestimate the power of group scientific prayer. Just as a braided rope resists more than a single thread, your faith, combined with the faith of others, becomes invincible. And if you cannot form a physical group, join mentally the vast network of people around the world holding the image of a free, healthy, joyful humanity. The law responds the same. Daily practice exercise. Whenever you wish to help a loved one, say with feeling and conviction, I see name completely free. Their true divine nature emerges now. They are free. Do this for 1 minute, visualizing the person surrounded by light, smiling, calm, living their life in self-mastery and wholeness. Feel joy for their freedom as if it were already a completed reality. If possible, do this with others. If not, do it alone, knowing that the good you wish for another returns, multiplied to you. Remember, in spiritual law, what you affirm for another, you affirm for yourself. Every thought of freedom sent to someone else opens the door of your own mind to freedom. Each session of collective prayer is a sowing of light in the invisible field of humanity, and the harvest is always abundant. Close your eyes now. Think of someone you wish to see free and gently affirm, I see name completely free. Their true divine nature emerges now. They are free. Allow peace to flood you and trust. The union of hearts in prayer is the master key to all liberation. Use this power, share it, and multiply the light. Your freedom and the freedom of others advances. Chapter 12. Permanent Freedom. Maintaining your new life. We arrive at the threshold of a powerful and simple truth. The freedom you now experience is not the result of luck, nor the fruit of a single great effort. It is the constant manifestation of a new mental lifestyle. To free oneself from an addiction is an inner birth, but true victory lies in remaining free, consolidating that state every day and letting it expand into every area of life. Permanent liberation is not a one-time event. It is a daily sowing, a garden that requires watering, light, and loving vigilance. The human mind, like fertile soil, can allow old seeds to grow again if left unattended. This is why the secret to maintaining long-term freedom is constant practice, small rituals that turn goodness into habit and habit into second nature. Morning meditation. Begin each day with a morning meditation. Before the thoughts of the world visit, close your eyes and spend a few minutes connecting with your inner source. Sit or lie in silence. Breathe deeply. Declare within, I remain free in God. My freedom deepens each day. I am eternally free. Visualize the light of freedom filling your entire being, flowing through every cell, every corner of your mind. If fear or thoughts of relapse arise, observe them without judgment and repeat firmly, that belongs to the past. Today I choose freedom. Vigilance of thoughts. The next step is to watch your thoughts. Do not allow old beliefs to return and take root. Whenever you notice a negative thought, a doubt, or an echo of the old pattern, gently stop it and replace it with your decree of freedom. Consistency in this act is the fence protecting your new garden. Remember, what you care for grows. Vigilance is not living in fear, it is living in awareness. It is guarding the gate of your mind and letting through only what you wish to flourish. Daily gratitude. Gratitude is the spiritual fertilizer that nourishes your freedom. Give thanks every day for the liberation you have achieved. Celebrate every small victory, every night of peace, every morning of clarity. Make gratitude a habitual reflex. Upon waking, walking, eating, or lying down, the subconscious, nourished by gratitude, deepens the pattern of well-being and extends it to new areas of life. 90-day maintenance program. I recommend a 90-day maintenance program. For 3 months, commit to your morning meditation, thought vigilance, and daily gratitude without exception. Keep it simple and gentle. If you forget one day, resume the next. This consistency consolidates freedom as an integral part of your being. By the end of this cycle, you will notice that your new life is not effort, but natural joy. Warning signs. Pay attention to warning signals. The mind is like a compass. When the old pattern attempts to return, it gives subtle signals, a nostalgic thought, an excuse, a sense of emptiness. Do not fear these signs. Use them as reminders to strengthen your practice. At each warning, repeat your decree, visualize your freedom, and give thanks for the alert. This way, old roots find no soil in which to grow. The story of Samuel. Let me share the story of Samuel, a man enslaved by various addictions for 20 years. He found freedom by applying these principles and practiced them devotedly during the first months. As the years passed, temptation became ever more distant until it disappeared completely. 3 decades later, Samuel lives in fullness. He enjoys his family, his work, his passions. Every morning, without exception, he begins his day with his decree of perpetual freedom. When asked about the secret of his success, he replies, I never stop giving thanks. I never stop caring for my mind. I live each day as one guards a treasure. This is how freedom becomes a full life. Daily practice exercise. Do this every morning, every night, and whenever you feel the need. I remain free in God. My freedom deepens each day. I am eternally free. Visualize your life expanding, your peace growing, your relationships healing, your energy renewing. If ever you falter, return to this decree. It is your anchor, your compass, your perpetual medicine. Remember, beloved reader, freedom is your heritage, your right, your gift. A well-trained mind makes freedom an automatic reflection. Live with joy, gratitude, vigilance, and trust. Sow each day the seed of your decree, and let the harvest of peace and fulfillment flood your life. A new life begins each day. Remain faithful to the law, faithful to your practice, faithful to the truth of your being. Then freedom will not be a memory or a dream. It will be the daily music of your soul. You are eternally free. Keep the flame alive. Victory is yours today and always.